I'm a ham radio operator, have been for 15 years. My call sign is KE4TXR, and I run a modest setup from my garage in rural Tennessee. Nothing fancy, just a Yaesu transceiver, a wire antenna strung between two trees, and enough knowledge to talk to people on the other side of the planet using nothing but radio waves and persistence. 3 weeks ago, I picked up something on 14.250 megahertz that changed everything I thought I knew about who we share this universe with. And now I'm writing this because someone needs to document what's really happening before they finish what they started. My name is Marcus Webb. I'm 42 years old. I'm not crazy, not on drugs, and not looking for attention. I'm just a guy who happened to be listening when they made their first mistake. It started on a Tuesday night. I was scanning the 20-meter band, looking for some DX contacts. Distant stations, the farther the better. That's the addiction of ham radio. There's something magical about bouncing your signal off the ionosphere and having someone in Japan or Australia or South Africa hear your voice. Around 11 p.m., I caught something odd. A carrier wave on 14.250 megahertz, right in the middle of the amateur band. No modulation at first, just a steady tone. That happens sometimes. Someone keys up their mic and walks away, or equipment malfunctions. I was about to tune past it when it started. Numbers, not spoken. Transmitted in some kind of digital mode I didn't recognize. My waterfall display showed a pattern, regular and repeating, but unlike anything in the amateur radio standard modes. Not PSK31, not RTTY, not FT8. Something else. I'm a curious guy. Comes with the hobby. So I started recording it. Ran it through every decoding software I had. Nothing worked. The pattern was there, clearly intentional, clearly data, but formatted in a way my equipment couldn't parse. I stayed up until 3 a.m. trying to crack it. Finally gave up and went to bed. The next night it was back, same frequency, same pattern. But this time something was different. The transmission was stronger, more urgent somehow, though I couldn't explain why. The carrier wave had a quality to it that made my equipment behave strangely. My S-meter was pegged, showing signal strength that should have been impossible for anything except a local station running illegal power. But there was no local station. I triangulated the source using my directional antenna. The signal was coming from straight up, from the sky. That's when I started taking this seriously. I'm part of an online community of ham radio operators. Guys and gals who share weird catches, help each other with technical problems, and generally geek out about radio. I posted about my mystery signal on the forum, asked if anyone else had heard it. Within an hour, I had responses from operators in California, Maine, Oregon, and Florida. They'd all heard it. Same frequency, same pattern, all reporting the signal coming from directly overhead, regardless of their location. That's not how radio propagation works. A terrestrial signal can't be overhead for everyone simultaneously. There's only one explanation. The source was in space. Satellite maybe, or something higher. One of the forum members, a retired NASA engineer named Bill, suggested we try to decode it as a different kind of data. Not audio, not standard digital modes, but raw binary. He sent me a Python script he'd written for analyzing unusual signals. I ran my recordings through it, and suddenly I had numbers, strings of them, thousands of digits, organized into groups. Bill recognized the pattern immediately. "Those are coordinates," he said when I called him. "Latitude and longitude, thousands of them. Coordinates for what? Run them through a mapping program, see what they point to." I did, and felt my stomach drop. Every single coordinate pointed to a major city: New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, Moscow, Beijing, Los Angeles, every major population center on Earth. "What the hell is this?" I whispered. "I don't know," Bill said. "But Marcus, I think we should report this. If this is some kind of threat, to who? The FCC? The military? Who's going to believe that ham radio operators picked up an alien hit list? You think it's alien? You got a better explanation for a signal that's simultaneously overhead for everyone on the planet?" He didn't. The signal changed on the third night. The coordinate list was replaced by something else. Bill's script decoded it as audio. Compressed, encrypted, but audio nonetheless. It took me 6 hours to break the encryption. It wasn't sophisticated, almost like whoever created it wanted us to crack it eventually. And when I finally heard what it contained, I understood why. It was a voice, human, male, speaking English with an American accent. Population centers have been marked. Harvest will commence in 96 hours. Infrastructure preservation is priority. Minimal structural damage protocols are in effect. Biological material will be processed at designated collection points. Resistance is expected to be minimal given the timeline. This is Harvest Fleet Command. Message repeats. The same message over and over. Clinical, detached, like a shipping company discussing logistics. I sat in my garage, headphones on, listening to humanity's death sentence being broadcast from orbit, and I couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't process what I was hearing. 96 hours, 4 days. They were giving themselves 4 days to harvest every major city on Earth. I grabbed my phone, started to dial 911, then stopped. What was I going to say? I'd sound insane. And even if they believed me, what could local police do about an alien fleet in orbit? Instead, I called Bill, then every ham operator who'd reported hearing the signal. Within 2 hours, I had a conference call with 14 people, all of them listening to the same horrifying message. We need to go public, someone said. News media, social media, everywhere. No, Bill said firmly. Think about it. If we broadcast this widely, what happens? Panic, riots, chaos, which might be exactly what they want. Keep us disorganized, unable to mount any kind of coordinated response. What response? I asked. We're ham radio operators. What are we supposed to do against an alien invasion fleet? We do what we do best, Bill said. We communicate, we organize, and we figure out what we're actually dealing with before we sound the alarm. Over the next 48 hours, our group grew. Ham operators are a tight-knit community, and word spread fast through back channels. By Thursday night, we had over 200 people actively monitoring the signal, analyzing its properties, and trying to understand what we were facing. That's when we discovered something crucial. The signal wasn't just broadcasting, it was listening. One of our members, a college student named Sarah, accidentally transmitted on 14.250 megahertz, keyed up her mic while trying to explain something to another operator. Just a second or two of audio. The alien signal stopped. Completely. For 30 seconds, the frequency was silent. Then it came back, but changed. The message was different. Still the same voice, but now it said, monitoring protocol engaged. Local communications detected. Adjusting timeline. Harvest will commence in 72 hours. They'd heard Sarah, and they'd moved up their schedule. Oh God, Sarah said on our conference call. Oh God, that was me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean. It's not your fault, Bill interrupted. But now we know something important. They're listening to us. They can hear our radio transmissions, and they respond to them. So we can communicate with them, I said. Maybe. But do we want to? I thought about that, about the clinical efficiency of their message, the casual discussion of processing biological material, the cold calculation of harvest timelines. No, I said, we don't communicate with them, we jam them. Silence on the call. Then Bill laughed, actually laughed. Marcus, you magnificent bastard. You want to fight an alien invasion fleet with radio interference? Why not? They're using radio to coordinate. If we can disrupt that, we can't disrupt it. We're talking about a civilization advanced enough to cross interstellar space. You think they can't filter out interference from primitive radio equipment? Maybe not. But Sarah's transmission made them change their plans. They're monitoring our frequencies. That means they're concerned about them. Maybe they're more vulnerable than we think. Another voice chimed in. Terry, a military veteran who ran a high-power station in Texas. I've got 10 kilowatts I can put on that frequency. If we coordinate, if everyone transmits simultaneously. It won't be enough, Bill said. We need more power. More operators, more dash dash. Then we recruit them, I said. Every ham operator on the planet. We've got 96 hours. No, 72 now. We spread the word through ham radio networks. We get every transceiver on Earth broadcasting on 14.250 megahertz simultaneously. We flood the zone with so much interference, they can't coordinate their harvest. That's crazy. You got a better idea? He didn't. What followed was the most intensive 48 hours of my life. We split into teams. Communications team, spreading the word through ham radio networks worldwide. Technical team, figuring out the optimal way to generate maximum interference. Coordination team, organizing a global transmission schedule. The ham radio community is amazing. Within 24 hours, we had thousands of operators on board. Within 36, we had tens of thousands. People dusted off old equipment, jury-rigged antennas, and prepared to throw everything they had at 14.250 megahertz. But we needed more. We needed everyone. That's when we decided to go public. Not through mainstream media. That would take too long, create too much panic. Instead, we used the internet, posted the decoded message everywhere. Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Explained what was coming, explained what we were trying to do. Most people thought it was a hoax, an ARG creative fiction, but some believed. And more importantly, some of them were ham operators, or new ham operators, or had old CB radios in their garages. The message spread, not to everyone, not to governments or militaries or official channels, but to enough people, to the ones who could help. By Saturday morning, 24 hours before the scheduled harvest, we had an estimated 50,000 operators ready to transmit from every continent, every time zone, every frequency allocation we could legally use, and some we couldn't. The alien signal changed again on Saturday afternoon. The voice was different, still human sounding, but with an edge of concern, uncertainty. Local resistance detected. Communications network more extensive than initial assessment. Recommend timeline extension for additional reconnaissance. We were getting to them. Actually getting to them. Don't let up, Bill said on our global conference call. Keep monitoring. Keep preparing. At exactly 0000 UTC tomorrow, everyone transmits. Every frequency, every mode, maximum power. We turn the amateur radio bands into a wall of noise they can't penetrate. I spent that evening in my garage checking my equipment one last time. My hands were shaking. I'm not a brave guy. I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who likes talking to strangers on the radio. But tomorrow I'd be part of something bigger than myself. Part of humanity fighting back in the only way we could. My wife came out around 10 p.m. Marcus, you should get some sleep. Can't. Too wired. Is this really going to work? I don't know. Maybe. We're doing something at least. That's better than nothing. She squeezed my shoulder. I'm proud of you. I couldn't respond, just nodded and went back to my frequency checks. At 23:45 UTC, I keyed up my microphone for a final test. My transceiver was set to 14.250 megahertz maximum legal power, ready to broadcast a carrier wave that would continue for as long as I could keep it running. Around the world, 50,000 other operators were doing the same thing. At 23:50, the alien signal came back. But this time, it wasn't the clinical harvest message or the reconnaissance update. It was something else. Something that sounded almost like pleading. Cease your transmissions. You don't understand what you're doing. The harvest is for your benefit, for your preservation. The solar event is coming. We're trying to save. The message cut off, replaced by static. What the hell was that? Someone said on our conference channel. A trick, Terry replied. Psychological warfare. Trying to make us hesitate. Or maybe, no, Bill interrupted. No second guessing. We're committed. 30 seconds. I watched the clock on my computer. 23:59:30. 20 seconds. 15. 10. The alien signal came back. Desperate now. Please, you're blocking the evacuation coordinates. We can't save you if 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds UTC. I pressed my transmit button, locked it down, and 50,000 operators around the world did the same thing. The amateur radio spectrum exploded with noise. Every frequency from 1.8 megahertz to 440 megahertz suddenly flooded with transmissions. Carrier waves, voice, digital modes, Everything we could throw into the ether. A coordinated wall of electromagnetic chaos. My S-meter pegged. The waterfall display on my computer became a solid bar of color. The background noise in my headphones went from a gentle hiss to a roar, and the alien signal vanished. Completely, instantly, like it had never been there. Did we do it? Someone asked on the conference channel. Did we stop them? Keep transmitting, Bill ordered. Don't let up. Maintain for at least. The lights went out, not just in my garage, everywhere. I could see through my window that the entire neighborhood had gone dark, and in the distance I could see the same thing extending for miles. Power grid is down, someone reported. Same here in California. UK reporting power loss. Australia dark. Japan offline. All around the world in the space of 30 seconds, the electrical grid collapsed. And then we saw them. Through the windows. Through the darkness. Lights in the sky, not stars, not planes. Something else. Something massive descending through the atmosphere in trails of fire. But not toward the cities. Away from them. Toward the oceans. Toward empty deserts. Toward unpopulated areas. Oh no, Bill whispered on the channel. Oh God, what did we do? The first impact came 5 minutes later. I felt it through the ground. An earthquake that rattled my garage, knocked equipment off shelves, sent my carefully strung antenna crashing to the ground. Then another, and another. Like the world was being hit with hammers the size of mountains. They weren't invading, someone said through tears on the radio, one of the few still working on battery power. They were evacuating. They were trying to save us, and we blocked the coordinates. We stopped them from telling people where to go. The impacts continued. I counted 12 before I lost count. 12 massive objects hitting the Earth, but not where they were supposed to, not in the cities. The alien signal came back one last time, different now. No more human voice, something else, something that sounded like satisfaction. Interference pattern accepted, behavioral analysis complete, species classification, reactive defensive, harvest protocols adjusted, collection phase initiated. And then silence. The lights came back on, power grids flickering to life across the world, and on every frequency, operators were celebrating. The ships had missed the cities. We'd won, but something felt wrong. We did it, Bill's voice came through, but I could hear the same uncertainty I felt. Marcus, we did it, right? I looked at my transceiver. The signal was gone. The alien fleet was retreating. Satellites confirmed it. The harvest ships had crashed in unpopulated areas. Everything should have been perfect, except for one thing. Bill, I said slowly, what if that was the test? What? The signal. What if they weren't coordinating an invasion? What if they were testing us? Seeing how we'd respond to a perceived threat? Silence on the line. The message mentioned behavioral analysis, I continued, and at the end it said species classification. Like they were categorizing us, and we just showed them exactly what we are. Aggressive, paranoid, capable of global coordination when threatened. But the ships crashed. We stopped them. Did we? Or did they land exactly where they wanted to? What if the coordinate list wasn't targeting cities for harvest? What if it was showing us what they could target to see if we'd react? Through my window, I could see helicopters heading toward the nearest crash site. Military response. Everyone mobilizing to study the alien technology, to reverse engineer it, to weaponize it. Oh God, Bill whispered. We just gave them everything. Our communication networks, our defensive capabilities, our population centers, our response time. We mapped ourselves out for them. My computer beeped. An email notification from an address I didn't recognize. No sender name. Just a single line of text. Thank you for participating in the survey. Data collection complete. Return visit scheduled. I tried to reply. The email address didn't exist. Tried to trace the source. It came from everywhere and nowhere, like it had originated from the internet itself. Marcus? My wife's voice from the doorway. The TV is showing something strange. The crash sites. They're not ships. I followed her inside. Every news channel was showing the same thing. Military personnel approaching the impact craters. But inside them wasn't wreckage, wasn't alien technology. They were empty, just burned earth and melted rock. No debris, no evidence anything had ever been there except the impact itself. They were never here, I said. Not physically, just the signal, just the test. My radio crackled, not on any frequency I was monitoring, just noise. But within the noise, a pattern, the same pattern from the original signal, but different, evolved, like it had learned from us. And then I understood the real horror. We hadn't stopped an invasion. We'd answered a census. We'd shown them we were here, organized, and capable of defending ourselves. We demonstrated global communication networks, rapid coordination, and the ability to mobilize thousands of people instantly. We'd proven we were worth coming back for. The retreating lights in the sky weren't fleeing. They were returning home, to report, to prepare, to come back with something we couldn't jam with amateur radio equipment. Bill, I said into my microphone, we need to keep monitoring, around the clock, multiple frequencies, because I don't think this is over. How long do you think we have? I looked at the email again. Return visit scheduled. No date, no time frame. Just the certainty that they would come back. I don't know. Could be months, could be years, could be decades, or could be tomorrow, he said quietly. It's been 6 hours since the signal stopped. The military is at the crash sites finding nothing. The government is holding emergency sessions. Scientists are analyzing every second of the transmission. And ham operators around the world are still on the air, not celebrating anymore, just watching, listening, waiting. I'm broadcasting this not as a victory report, but as a warning. We made contact. We responded. We showed them what we are. And now they know we're here. The signal that came from space wasn't an attack. It was reconnaissance. And we gave them everything they needed. Some of the operators think I'm being paranoid, that we won, that humanity is safe, that the aliens gave up and left. Maybe they're right. Maybe the return visit email was a hoax. Maybe the strange message at the end was just our software misinterpreting a shutdown sequence. But I don't think so. I think we passed their test. Proved we were intelligent, organized, and dangerous enough to be interesting. Showed them that harvesting Earth wouldn't be easy, but would be worth the effort. And now they're coming back with a real plan. One that accounts for our defenses, one that we won't be able to jam with radio interference. My wife asked if we should leave, move somewhere remote, somewhere off the grid. But where would we go? They have our coordinates, all of them, every major city on Earth. Other operators are having the same conversation. Some are planning to keep their equipment running 24/7, maintaining a permanent watch on the frequencies. Others are dismantling their stations, afraid that our transmissions are what drew them here in the first place. I'm staying on the air. Not to fight them. I don't think we can fight what's coming, but to watch, to document, to make sure someone knows what happened when they return. Because they will return. The email said so, and somehow I believe it. I'm signing off for now, but I'm not shutting down. My equipment will keep scanning, keep monitoring, keep watching the sky for any signal that shouldn't be there. This is KE4TXR, Marcus Webb. We thought we won. We thought we saved humanity. But all we did was answer the door when something knocked. And now it knows we're home. 73 and stay vigilant. Because I don't think we'll get a second warning. KE4TXR, clear.